You know the feeling. You just spent the entire weekend holding a shovel, dropped a ton of cash at the garden center, wiped the sweat off your forehead and thought, that's it, my yard isn't just a yard anymore, it's a Pinterest board. Fast forward 2 years, you look at your yard with one single thought in your head. Why did I ever get myself into this? Hey there. Today we're talking about the hidden traps of landscape design, things that sound absolutely brilliant in theory, but in practice turn your life into an endless battle with nature. I've put together the 7 most frustrating yard design mistakes that are stealing your time, your sanity, and your money. And trust me, mistake number 1 on this list is sitting in the yard of almost anyone who's ever bought spring saplings. Let's get into it. Number 7. White decorative gravel. Oh, that luxury hotel aesthetic. You fill a flower bed or a pathway with blindingly white crushed marble. Against a green lawn, it looks absolutely gorgeous. You take a picture, send it to your friends, and feel like an absolute design guru. Now, welcome to reality. 6 months pass, leaves fall into that white gravel. The wind blows in dust. After a few rains, the marble starts turning yellow, and in the shady spots, it gets covered in a gross green layer of moss. And here's the biggest problem. You can't clean it. You can't rake it, or the gravel will just mix with the dirt. You can't exactly vacuum up the tiny debris either. The result? After a couple of seasons, your premium flower bed looks like dirty, melting spring snow. If you want a ground cover, use natural mixed colors, like larch bark, river rock blends, or varying shades of gray gravel. They hide the dust and age gracefully. Number 6. Landscape fabric under bark mulch to stop weeds. This is the greatest myth that garden center salespeople push on beginners. It sounds logical. Lay down the black fabric, dump the bark on top, and the fabric stops weeds from growing up from the bottom. Bingo! No weeding for the rest of your life. But nature is smarter than that. Weed seeds don't come from below. They come from above, carried by the wind. They drop right into your beautiful mulch. The mulch breaks down, turns into excellent nutrient-rich soil, and the weed takes root. Except now, its roots punch right through your landscape fabric. Where you used to be able to just pluck a dandelion out of soft dirt with 2 fingers, it is now permanently stitched into that black fabric. You pull the weed, and the entire sheet of fabric lifts up, taking the mulch with it. Plus, over time, the soil under that fabric gets compacted and stops breathing. Just pour a 2 to 3 inch layer of bark directly onto the bare soil. That's enough to smother the weeds, and the soil will thank you for it. Number 5. The BBQ area in the farthest corner of the yard. You're drawing up your yard plan and thinking, okay, the smoke from the grill and the loud guests shouldn't bother the people inside the house. I'll put the BBQ gazebo way back in that far corner of the yard. Sounds like you're just looking out for your family. But let's be honest. Imagine this. You marinate the meat in the kitchen. You have to grab a tray of skewers, plates, sauces, and veggies, and carry it all 100 feet across the entire yard. And then you realize you forgot the salt. You run all the way back. Then a light drizzle starts, and after it's all over, you have to carry all those dirty dishes back to the house to wash them. You know how this ends. People end up buying a cheap little grill, putting it right next to the back door, and that fancy $5,000 brick gazebo in the far corner just gathers cobwebs. Your cooking zone should be a 10 to 15 second walk from your kitchen, period. By the way, if you just smiled because you recognized yourself in that story, hit that like button. Let's see how many of us are out there. Number 4. The yard that dies in October. We all love spring and summer. We go to the nursery and buy up everything with a pretty flower. Peonies, hostas, hydrangeas, roses. And by July, your yard looks like the Garden of Eden. And then November hits. The leaves fall off, the hostas turn into slimy mush, and the roses get covered up with those ugly white protective cones. You end up staring at an entirely bare, gray field of dirt with sticks poking out of it. And the problem is, depending on where you live, you might be looking at that landscape for 6 months out of the year. Yard design needs to start with a winter skeleton. Plant evergreens, mountain pines, junipers, arborvitae. Add shrubs with brightly colored bark, like red twig dogwood, whose red branches practically glow against the snow in winter. Use tall, ornamental grasses that look beautiful swaying in the winter wind. Your yard should stay interesting even when all the green is gone. Number 3. 90-degree pathways. This is the pain of every perfectionist. A guy grabs a tape measure and some stakes and maps out pathways so they run perfectly parallel to the fence and intersect at exact 90-degree angles. Geometry, order. But the human brain doesn't work like that. We are lazy creatures. We always look for the shortest path from point A to point B. When you're walking from the gate to the shed, you aren't going to march in an L shape like a soldier on parade. You're going to cut the corner. Within a year, right next to your perfectly straight, expensive paving stones will be an ugly, trampled, diagonal dirt path cutting through the grass. There's a golden rule among park architects: seed the whole area with grass first. Wait a season, see where people actually trample out the natural paths, and only then lay down your paving. Use sweeping, curved lines. Follow human psychology, not a ruler. Number 2. Supermarket fruit trees. It's spring. You walk into a big box hardware store or grocery supercenter, and there they are, rows of beautiful cardboard boxes with apple, pear, and cherry tree saplings at ridiculously low prices. The boxes feature pictures of giant, juicy fruit. In a burst of inspiration, you grab 5 of them. Here is the harsh truth. Those plants have spent weeks sitting in a dry, warm warehouse. Their roots are already dead or dried out. But what's even worse is that these chain stores frequently sell varieties that aren't even suited for your local climate. You plant that apple tree, you wait 3, 4, 5 years. It's constantly sick, covered in aphids, suffers freeze damage every winter, and eventually yields 2 sour apples the size of walnuts. You just wasted 5 years of your life. Skip the supermarket boxes. Buy your fruit trees exclusively from trusted local nurseries. Get varieties grafted specifically for your region, preferably in pots, container grown rather than bare root. And here we are at number 1. This is the ultimate trap of our own impatience, the mistake that will literally have you reaching for an axe a few years from now. Number 1. Planting too close together for instant gratification. When we plant little arborvitae along a fence or small hydrangea bushes, they look so tiny. There's 3 feet of empty dirt between them. We look at it and think it looks sparse, so we decide, I'll just plant them 15 inches apart. It'll look thick and beautiful right now. And for the first 2 years, it really does look great. But in year 3, the war for survival begins. The plants merge together. Their roots start fighting each other for water and nutrients in the soil. Because they're planted shoulder to shoulder, sunlight and air can no longer reach the inside of the shrubs. The inner needles or leaves start to turn black, rot, and die off. Fungus moves in. Your beautiful living hedge turns into a solid, diseased block that goes completely bald at the bottom, and you are left with only one option. Grab a saw and chop down every other plant, plants you paid good money for. Every plant has a mature size listed on its tag or online. If it says the bush will be 5 feet wide, leave 5 feet of space. Yes, you'll have to tolerate some empty gaps for the first 2 years. You can fill them with annual flowers, but eventually the plants will thank you with perfect shapes and great health. Your yard is not a battlefield. It's a place you should come home to so you can exhale, pour yourself a cup of tea or something a little stronger, sit back in a chair, and just enjoy the view. Don't make your life harder where it doesn't have to be. Which of these mistakes made you think, uh-oh, I think I did that? Drop it in the comments. I am genuinely excited to read your stories.